I just want to say that I've filmed this once already and my audio is messed up. Anyways, welcome back to my channel where we only have opinions that everybody agrees with and nothing controversial at all. Never mind. So I want to do something like this at the end of every month where I just talk about what I've been watching, what I've been doing, and see if, I can make any recommendations. I've been trying to watch 3 or 4 movies a week and at least something new every week, and I didn't really stick to that as well this month, but I'm planning on doing it next month. So we can at least look forward to this at the end of every month. I started this month by watching a bunch of Marvel Cinematic Universe content because I wanted to get ready for WandaVision, and there was an article that said there are a bunch of movies that you can watch, and the first 2 on the list were Thor 1 and 2, and I hate these movies. I only watched these at the time because Darcy was being rumored to be in WandaVision, and I didn't like that I had to watch them because the cinematography in the first one's just bad. The camera's tilted when it doesn't need to be, and it ends up hurting your neck. The second one's just no emotional depth at all. Like, they focus on Loki's death for like 30 seconds, and then you already forget about it. I couldn't get invested into either of them. Thor's a cool character, Jane kind of annoyed me, Darcy is fine, and Loki's just probably the best character in the entire universe. Yeah, but like I said, there's no reason whatsoever for me to ever watch these again. I just don't enjoy it. Next, I watched Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, and this is the first time where we actually see Wanda and Vision in a movie, so I was happy about that. This was at least a more fun movie to watch than Thor 1 and 2. It's definitely the worst Avengers movie, but when its competitors are the first Avengers movie, Infinity War, and Endgame, those expectations are pretty high. Wanda and Vision are just really interesting characters, and they both shine bright in this. Aside from that, it's just fun being able to watch all these characters come together and interact in this sort of way. It's nowhere near top tier Marvel, but it's still a fun time. Then I watched Civil War, which is probably the best movie in terms of visuals and action in the MCU. This is why it's fun to watch this entire universe. There's action going on, it's good looking, it's well choreographed, it's intense, it's entertaining, and it actually has meaning. A lot of action movies have action for the sake of being action, but in Marvel it has meaning and reasons behind it. It's part of the story, it's a plot device, it's not just a gimmick. It's also really heartbreaking to see the Avengers fall apart like this. You're used to them teaming up and kicking ass with each other, but in Civil War there's that rift that gets created between them, and it's kind of heartbreaking. Next up in the seemingly random Marvel binge at this point, I watched Infinity War. I don't really have a lot to say about this movie that hasn't been said other than it's awesome, it's groundbreaking for crossover movies in this genre, and its direction and cinematography are actually pretty good. If you want an example of this, you can watch the scene where Tony, Doctor Strange, Wong, and Bruce Banner leave the Sanctum in New York and walk down the street to see Thanos' ship, the big donut flying above the street. That's actually a one-shot, and I didn't realize that until I watched it again, but when I did, I was like, oh my god, it's a one-shot. The editing and VFX are seamless, especially when it comes to Thanos, and the ending is even more heartbreaking than Civil War. At this point, I said screw it and just started to watch the entire MCU, so now I am up to Iron Man. I love this for the same reasons I think I like Infinity War. It's got great structure and foundation, it's really entertaining, it's funny, and that's all down to Robert Downey Jr. and Jon Favreau working together. Tony Stark's just a badass, and his development is so strong in this movie. He goes from an arrogant arms dealer to a humbled peace advocate? I don't know if he's quite a peace advocate, but he's not an arms dealer anymore. The acting from RDJ and Jeff Bridges just take this thing over the top. One of my favorite villains in the entire universe, and it's a really good start to the probably biggest film franchise of all time. And then we have The Incredible Hulk. I hate this. Edward Norton's not the guy for this, and really is just not a well-made film at all, and it's the same thing for Iron Man 2. The formula that they used with Iron Man worked really well, but they just rebranded it and tried to sell it as the same thing, kind of like every Madden and 2K game ever. It's not worth my time to talk about it more than that. Well, we're done with Marvel films for now, and moving on, I watched One Night in Miami by Regina King. If you don't know, this movie is about Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, and Sam Cooke meeting in a hotel room on one night in Miami. He said it! He said it! They talk about the civil rights movement and how being Muslim during that time period would actually aid in the fight for equality. Most of the film takes place in real time, and it provides a really natural feeling. These are real people, characters, real stories, or conversations. You get immersed in it because there's no edits that go all over the place. You're not skipping time as quickly as possible like a lot of movies do. You're just following these people that are having a conversation, and that could be very boring if it wasn't for the direction of Regina King, which is amazing, and I really need her to make more movies. I want to point out that Leslie Odom Jr. and Kingsley Ben-Adir just nail their performances as Sam Cooke and Malcolm X respectively, and I hope they do really well at the Oscars. I would absolutely recommend checking this out. It's available for free if you have Amazon Prime Video. After that, I watched Chef, a film by Jon Favreau about a chef, believe it or not, that gets fired from his fancy restaurant job and ends up working as the owner of a food truck. I feel like a lot of Favreau's work, with this included, is less of a cinematic experience and more of just a fun time. He wants to make movies that entertain people, and this is definitely one of them. I don't think I'd ever sit down and watch Chef with all of my attention pointed at it. I think I'd rather just have it on in the background while I'm doing something, or put on a movie with my friends like that. It's not something that I take in by myself. It's just a good time. Next up, I watched HBO's Chernobyl, the miniseries about the nuclear plant explosion in Ukraine, and if you want to learn more about what I think, there's an entire video about it. Then I watched Citizen Kane, a pretty unknown movie by a pretty unknown guy. I talked about it in my 100 movies video, but I can sum it up real quick. I like it. I thought it was good. I think it's objectively probably a masterpiece for the time. It changed cinema. It's groundbreaking. Greatest of all time conversation. Yeah. It's not my thing. I like watching it, but I don't think I'm ever going to go out of my way to watch it again. Sorry if I offended anyone, but not really. Finally, I watched Whiplash, La La Land, and First Man, the 3 movies that Damien Chazelle has directed to this point, and I'm going to talk about them in a video coming up. So stay tuned for that. That's it for January. That's everything I watched. Hopefully I can get a lot more done in February, but if there's anything you think I should watch in February, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. I'm going to try and post every Tuesday and Friday or Saturday from this point on. I'll try and stick to that. 2 videos a week sounds pretty good to me. So I'll try and keep those coming. Stay tuned for more, and thank you for watching. See you.